The learning outcomes of this project is three, basically to identify a problem to be investigated, synthesize the literature on a topic and assimilate the findings. The last one is to conduct the investigation and write up a report. Now, different universities have a different name of this module. Some of them call thesis, some of them call project. And in Brittany University, we call it work-based project, whereby, first of all, you need to identify any problem, which you will be doing a research on that. While you have identifying your problem, you also need to synthesizing your literature on the topic and assimilate the findings, right? And of course, after your research, you need to write a report. The length of the report is 7,000 to 8,000 words. Now, this is the expectation after completion of this module from the MBA students. In work-based project, so these are the basic contents I will go through now. The work-based project, the stages in this project, how to get started and what you should do, what you should not do, the proposed contents of the project report, the presentation of the report, and assessment criteria. So these are the points I'll be discussing today, right? Now, work-based project is a capstone subject for MBA degree program with a specialization, right? Now, all of you know that the specialization have two requirements, basically. One of the requirement is the bachelor, whatever your area of bachelor, you can do your specialization on the same topic, or if you have a work experience in the related field for 3 years at least, you can also do your specialization. Let's say you have done your bachelor in management, but now in MBA, you would like to do your specialization in marketing, all right, or the hospitality, yeah? Then you must have a working experience in sales and marketing, or in a hotel industry at least for 3 years. Then you should be able to do your specialization. Work-based project is related to your strategic aspects of the organization. This involves the application of related theories, tools, models, and real-life situation in the business environment. So this is the specialty of Brittany University's MBA program, whereby your work-based project would be focusing on your specialized area, right? You can choose based on your work experience, and all the 6 modules you have completed. I'm sure that you have learned a lot of theories, models, and then you'll be able to apply in your work-based project. This project also will assist in developing problem-solving skills, right? So basically, a research starts with identification of problem. If there is no problem, there is no research. That's number 1. Number 2, in your project also, although we are calling it work-based project, you must identify a problem whereby you will be focusing on the problem-solving skills, applying research methodology and appropriate technique and tools. Now, let's discuss about the scope of your work-based project. Students would be required to identify an issue or issues with a particular management challenge or issues with their own organization of industry, or one which they have familiar. Now, this is what we advise our students. You should identify an issue for a particular organization whereby you have an access, because if you want to do research, you need to do data collection, some cases you need to do interview, this and that. So you need to be careful before selecting the topic or before identifying the problem. So be careful and make sure that you have complete access to your the organization you are targeting to, you're selecting to. Students are either required to identify the process, issues, or problem, which they must critically analyze. This is the specialty of the MBA project, that you need to analyze critically and discuss, leading to a conclusion and recommendations. So your discussion or your critical analysis must have some recommendations, right? So that would be your contribution end of the project. All strategic and courses of action which are backed by clearly reasoned arguments and appropriate application of various appropriate management theories, models, techniques, practices, or tools taught in the whole program, right? I request all of you to mute your mic so that you don't disturb others. All right. So MBA for the specialization, some of you, maybe you are choosing the general MBA, so you are allowed to choose any topic you like. Those who would like to do your specialization on MBA hospitality management, you must select your work-based topic on the hospitality management. Similarly, those who would like to do your specialization in marketing or finance or blockchain management or even talent management, you need to choose your work-based project in the related areas. Now, prerequisite. What are the prerequisites for work-based project research and MBA with the specialization award? This one, I think I have already mentioned that all the students, after completion of the 6 core modules, and in order to be eligible to gain MBA specialization award, the following condition must be completed. Undertake an area of research in the chosen specialization for the work-based project. For specialization in the hospitality management, finance, or blockchain management, candidate must have demonstrated either RPL, which is recognition of prior experiential learning through the working experience in those fields, or at the supervisory level or managerial level, either one, for a period of minimum 3 years working experience. And those who don't have the appeal through the formal certificated learning in the above specialization. The second one is your previous studies. Those who have completed your bachelor and the related field, you also can do your specialization in this field. Students are expected to have a covered core knowledge prerequisite to enable more extensive and in-depth research applications when undertake the work-based project in the respective specialization. Right. Galaxy A7 tab, please mute your mic. All right. Now, what are the objectives of this work-based project? Nimshita, please unmute your mic. Your work should demonstrate that you have achieved these outcomes. Number one is critically evaluate and make recommendation for organizational development relating to your theme or issues impacting the participant organization. So I mentioned earlier as well that your work or work-based project or piece of work need to have a critical evaluation followed by recommendations. You also need to design, develop, and apply and evaluate practically sound business assessment, evaluation, and subsequent solution to resolve the real company business or management challenges or management issues or organizational issues. Critically evaluate the theme or issues impacting the business organization, business unit, drawing upon and developing concepts, model theories, or demonstrate innovative thinking, and informed, justifiable, and feasible solutions. Present the finding throw in a presentation appropriate to the management audiences. So these are the basic objectives that you should fulfill during your work-based project. Now, this is an important part. Word count, right? The work-based project should have provide an opportunity for you to apply the knowledge and understanding that you develop through the taught modules, which you have already completed. The project should be either direct benefit to your workplace, to your continuing personal or professional development, or possibly both, right? The word count, you should be 7,000 to 8,000. So it should be in between, not less than 7,000 and not more than 8,000. Significantly lesser than 7,000, you will be penalized. In some cases, you might fail and you need to redo your work-based project. Whereby if it is exceeds 8,000 words, you will be penalized again. So this is an important take note. Now, what are the stages you need to complete in your work-based project? The work-based project has 3 stages that you should complete and arrange the follows: the preliminaries, the body of the work, and end of the material, which I will be discussing this in subsequent slides. Now, at the beginning, you must prepare a proposal. In your student portal, LMS, under the resource tab, there is a template. You should complete your research proposal first, right? Once your research proposal is completed and it is approved, then a supervisor will be assigned for you, right? Then after discussing with your supervisor, you should be proceeding to your work-based project. Now, what are the things we are expecting in a preliminaries? Preliminaries. So there is a front cover sheet or title piece, declaration, executive summary, acknowledgement, and table of contents you should write in the preliminary stage. These all, there is a format, Word format in your student portal in section 1. You should be getting all this information. Now, this is the main structure of the work-based project. You can call it section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, in research, we call it chapter 1, 2, 3, 5. Now, what are the chapters? Chapter 1 is introduction, whereby you will be discussing the background of your issues identified or problems you have identified, right? At the same time, you also you can include in the what you call your rationale or justification of the topic, why you have selected this, and what are the expected outcomes, how this will benefit to your organization after completion of the research. Then you should write about the problem statement and the identification, management techniques, tools, and analysis. In basically, analysis part is in chapter 4, and in chapter 5 we do the presentation of the findings or conclusion, and of course the presentation of the solution recommendations you can put in the chapter 5 as well, right? So we'll be discussing more further on this, and then the second one is the end part. You need to put your references and appendixes. The references that Brittany University will follow is the Harvard referencing style. There are some other styles as well, but we recommend and strictly follow Harvard referencing style. You can also put appendix whereby your questionnaires or survey forms or approvals or any other things that you find it very relevant to your research, what you have completed, kind of proof you can attach at the appendix. Now, the components of the work-based project, right? So the title, you should be already identifying the title. It should be in your front page. The title should be second, yet clearly specify the content of the report. Now, some of the students will find that they choose or they select a title which is very long. If it is way too long, it doesn't suit. It doesn't suit. The title should be very descriptive and explicit rather than poetic or implicit. It should be agreed and finalized as a part of the final draft. It may be different from the original proposed title, right? At this stage, at the current stage, you can decide or you can select a title of your own. While you will be assigned a supervisor, you need to discuss with your supervisor, then you can finalize your title as well. As I mentioned, make sure it is not too long or not too short. Within 1 or 2 lines should be fine. After that, you can put the acknowledgement part. This part, mainly the student acknowledges during their research or during their work-based project process. They need to do a lot of discussion with your supervisor. So you might acknowledge him. You also need to get help from the organization. So you might need to acknowledge them, need to thank them. In some cases, those who have families and all, they need to sacrifice times for the family and also you might need to include as well. So this acknowledgement clause or the part is completely yours. It's up to you how you'd like to add in. Followed by executive summary. Executive summary should gives an overview of your project. After reading the executive summary, a reader is supposed to know what is your project all about and what is the intended outcomes, all right? Within a half or even 1 page, you need to complete this. The next part is the declaration and the word count. Declaration part is whereby you need to declare and acknowledge that the work you have produced or the project you have completed is not plagiarized. You haven't copied from anywhere. It is your piece of work. So you need to add in your declaration, and after that you should mention the word count. Word count is 7,000 to 8,000 words in between. Now let's discuss a bit more about the introduction. In the introduction, the student normally they introduce the topic, they contextualize their research, their study. This also indicates the significance. This also indicates the significance or importance of the subject or the topic or the issues they have identified. If there is no importance, if there is no importance of the study to an external reader, or it doesn't incite any interest, then it might not be appropriate. So personal interest may inspire the selection of the research topic, but ultimately the importance to be the others should be specified in the organization, right? Your research, as I mentioned, you can choose your own organization or some other organization, or maybe in this pandemic situation, you see the impact of COVID everywhere in the organization. People cannot go to the work, right? So there's an issue. In some cases, the absenteeism increases. This is an issue. Some people are demoralized, demotivated. This is also an issue. So this is for the common interest. You can choose any other topic. This can often be done by positioning the work-based project in your relation to your critical management issues or challenges, which require immediate or quick attention, as the issues either poses threats to the organization or survival of the competitive age, right? The issues can be your survival issues or competitive issues. Those who are working in the sales and marketing, they might find new techniques or new strategy or new opportunity can significantly improve the organization profitability or performances. So these are the areas that you can select, whereby everyone will find interest, your organization will find interest. In fact, in this current world, to survive, the organization must do research. Some of the organizations, they call it research and development, R&D department. So that particular department, their focus is to do the research, right? Now, the body of the work. The 5 sections of the project that in case study should progress logically, starting with the rationale for the subject of the project, critical review existing problems, practices which require review and improvement, the choice of applying relevant, appropriate management techniques, tools to analyze, find solutions, presentation to the findings, solutions, and the implementation of the proposed proposed solution, right? Now, in chapter 1 or introduction, you will introduce the topic, you will discuss the background of the issues, you will also be discussing about the problem, the significance of the problem. You might want to put 1 or 2 research questions with the research aim and objectives, right? Then you will be proceeding to chapter 2, which is basically literature review, whereby you will find out the contemporary the literatures or contemporary studies, the similar topics. You will find the related theories, and you will develop your conceptual framework based on your theoretical framework. You might develop your hypothesis, right? Then you will move to your chapter 3, what you call it, research method. So in research method in chapter 3, you will be telling us, your audiences, what are the methods you're going to follow. Is it quantitative or qualitative, or who are your samples, who are your population that you're going to distribute. You're going to distribute a survey, where you're going to take the interview, and you will formulate your questionnaire or survey. This all will be in your chapter 3. In chapter 4, whereby we call it analysis part, data analysis, findings part, right? So after collecting all the data, you will be using tools, statistical tools like SPSS or Smart PLS or MOS, any of the tool you can use, which you find relevant to your research and which you think you are familiar with. Then you will, after analysis, you will be finding, you will be analyzing the findings. And in conclusion of chapter 5, you will be presenting your findings. At the same time, you will discuss the whole issues, and you will be coming up with your recommendations, which is your contribution to this research, right? Now, so these are the 5 chapter basically. I repeat again, this is introduction. You will then you will follow with the literature review. You will go to next is research methodology. Then you will be writing your data analysis part, and the chapter 5 is a conclusion and recommendations, right? Now, the presentation of the document or writing style, bear in mind the project or research is a formal writing. The level of writing must be appropriate to the level of master's degree, right? Especially the adequate attention should be paid to the correct spelling. We notice a lot of students sometimes they are not careful, or they are not focusing, and then they are making spelling error, grammar error, or punctuation error. This will significantly reduce your marks, and the sentence structure as well. This is also the student's responsibility to edit the text for typing errors, uncover all the spelling errors. You can only avoid when you do revisions, a lot of revisions. Then you should be able to detect your spelling, your grammar, your punctuation. You make sure you do a lot of revisions after completion and before submitting, before your final submission. You also should bear in mind that some of the students, they are thinking, okay, well, I submit to my supervisor, this is supervisor job. No, you need to, this is your job. This is your piece of work, and this is your job. And while you are writing a formal writing, you should not use the first person. For example, I, we, us. These are the first person you need to avoid. In self-references, whereby you think that this self-reference is necessary, you can put as the author or the study. So the exception to this in the conclusion section, whereby the personal comments may be appropriate. Now, page layout. The page should be numbered in a sequence on the top, the right corner, starting with the including a title page. The margin and headings, the specifications are minimum the 38 mm, right? The left and margin and 31 mm is the three other sides. The page number should be above on top of the margin line. The right margin should be unjustified, the left right. And since the spacing between the words used to make the right margin between inhibits relatively to be used in the description, and please do not use your name in any header or footer. Some students, they like to put their name. No, it is not necessary, and it gives unnecessary issues. It creates unnecessary issues. The table or chart or the figure should be numbered sequentially by section or chapter. For example, if you would like to add any table in chapter 1, it will be 1.1. In chapter 2, it will be 2.1. In chapter 3, it should be labeled as 3.1, right? Similarly for the figure. Now, it is not acceptable to insert the photocopies of the tables of the body to the research project. Bear in mind, right? You cannot insert any photocopies. Table should be word processed into the project. If you need to create any table, you should be create in your Word, in Microsoft Word. In broad terms, this principle also applies to diagrams. No photocopies or no cut paste of the diagrams. There will be, of course, occasions when the photocopy of the table diagram is specially required in order to illustrate the points peculiar to the original. Use such photocopies must be cleared by the supervisor. If there's any cases you need to use, you must get the supervisor permission. Similar principles also apply to the appendix in regard of table and diagrams. It is recognized that there will be circumstances whereby dissertation on advertising, whereby the photocopies are necessary. Another example might be sample completed of the questionnaires, right? If you would like to add your sample questionnaires and all, you should be adding the proper one in appendix. Now, the work-based project must be word processed and final copy must be uploaded for marking on the designated online portal, which is your student portal. Spacing may either be set at the double or 1.5. I recommend all of you to choose this 1.5 space depending on the machine used. Spacing greater than double spacing is not acceptable, right? So you can choose either 1.5 or double spacing. Double is not accepted. Direct quotations may be presented starting with a new line in a single spacing, indented both left and right. The body of the project should be font size 12. Arial is the standard font size, or you can even choose Times New Roman. I think someone mic is not muted. Could you please? Right. Thank you. Now, plagiarism and citation. This intellectual work of the others is being summarized and used in the work-based project must be attributed to the sources. This is, you all need to focus here that sometimes students, they do not have any intention to copy from others. But plagiarism report, it shows it's plagiarized. Do you know why? Because sometimes students take references from the other published works and they forget to put the citation properly, put the author name and all appropriately. When you miss that, that will result as a plagiarized work, right? Which you haven't done intentionally, right? So this is called as unintentional plagiarism. So you need to be careful whenever you take another person's opinion or you refer to the other work which is published, you must do cite them. If you don't do the proper citation, it will be resulting as plagiarized work. It is assumed that all ideas, opinions, conclusions, specific wordings, quotations, conceptual structures, data, whether reproduced exactly of in paraphrased manner, which are not referenced to another sources, is the work of the other student, is known as plagiarized work. If this is not the case, an act of plagiarism may be occurred, right? Which is cause for disciplinary action at the program or the university level. So in case someone ignore all these things and submit to the university, and university found out that this is a copy of somebody else, disciplinary action will be taken. Yeah. Now, the particular attention need to be paid to the originality and acknowledgement of your sources. It is important that your work, before you submit, when you submit your final work, when you submit, before submitting your final work, is this original as far as the master's project constraint allow? Gives a proper acknowledgement to any other work by others which is used in completing in your project. Originality means the project subject is presented in a way which differ from others, right? And it is not copied from any other published works or study guides or any other dissertations or research projects of other past or present students. This also does not preclude the use of same material from wider reading, which to support with example or relevant opinions, ideas, to place within the context of existing knowledge. In fact, the credit is especially given to the references in the assessment of the scheme. It doesn't mean, however, the sources of any such material must be identified. Unacknowledged use of the work or the other work is plagiarism, which is regarded as a dishonest practice in academic, and it will be dealt with on that basis as per the university regulations. As I mentioned earlier, the disciplinary action. Now, this is how you should look like your citations. You must use the Harvard referencing for your work-based project, and Harvard referencing, like the Harvard in referencing the author or date, then you use the name and the year. Example, you see, this is according to the statement. This reference is used in your in-text referencing. So when you write according to statement in 2003, example, there are 3 parts of the recent study, extra. So you can put at the beginning of the sentence, you can also put at the end of the sentence, right? The second one. This is the in-text references, how it should look like. Now, then at the end, in your references or bibliographic, you should put the complete references, something like this. This should be put in here at the end, how it look like, the author's name, the publication year, the name of the book or the journal, or even newspaper. In case of journal, there are more other details like volume, issues, and all, page number, right? In case you are doing any referencing from the website, we do not encourage normally to student to use the Wikipedia website references, but in certain cases whereby you are selecting a company and you must give references from that company website, you need to do that. So in that case, you should write, example, the PC management, and this is the URL. And then you also need to write when you access this and that, right? All the details. Right. So these are the steps, basically, for your work-based project. Those who joined late, this is an overview for you guys. First of all, that you need to find a suitable project, which in other words is your proposal. And you need to upload your proposal for approval. I believe a month time is given for this whole proposal. And once you upload, you will be informed whether it is approved, proceed, or you need to redo or resubmit your proposal. And when your proposal is approved, your supervisor will be assigned to guide you through. And then you will start your journey, your work-based project journey. Once you complete, you after approval from your supervisor, then you're allowed to submit at the online portal. Then your work or your thesis or your work-based project will be marked, and it will go to the exam board. After this, after successfully completion of this, you will be awarded as with a Masters of Business Administration degree. Now, in order to start this, you explore a lot of possibilities and ideas. This is just to give an idea how to find a topic. Identify if there is a problem, issues is affecting your workplace, your organization. We always advise our students because most of them are working adults, and we advise them to find an issue or problem within your organization, which will be much easier to solve. And when you solve with coming up with your recommendation, your management may award you. So this is a good opportunity. In case anyone not working, he or she should find an organization whereby they have access to the information, easy access. Identify an opportunity to make an improvement, or identify there is something in your area that needs improving, investigating, developing, implementing, right? Select a project that demonstrates your skills and knowledge drawn from 6 modules, right? So we always encourage our students, all the modules they completed, to relate, to find any topic within their scope. That will give an extra benefit whereby they can utilize the related theories, the models they have learned already. And make sure that you have a clear benefit of your organization and section of the department, accessibility to the information, right? These are the important things. And some of the ideas, like you might want to formulate a marketing strategic plan. Those who would like to do your work-based project in marketing. Those who would like to do the general MBA, they can also put what we call the business strategy or strategies, formulating a supply chain management strategy, formulating a human resource management strategy, formulating new business model, etc., etc. So these are some ideas. Now, this is an important part, that recommended time 3 months upon registration with the center. Now, the maximum time period for project is 6 months, right? You are allowed to submit if you are completed after 3 months, right? So you need to plan it appropriately. That some of the students, they thought we have 6 months, so we submit end of the 6 months, this and that. Then when you miss the deadline, you will be penalized. So you need to plan it properly. You need to do your work so that you can complete. We advise you to submit within 4 to 5 months, or you complete at least 4 months, then you have 1 month to do revision and some improvement if necessary, then you can submit it. Now, what are the things you should avoid during this work-based project journey? You should not choose a large project which is not manageable within the given frame. You need to bear in mind that you have a limited time, a limited period of time. So you should not choose any topic which will require longer time and not organized. That means you don't have any plan. If you don't have any plan, you will be confused. You must have a clear or no objective, no focus. If you are not focused, if you don't have the specific timeline or goal or objectives, then you'll be messed. Not being critical, presenting your point of view to issues. I think I have mentioned already a few times that this is master's level. Your identification of the problem and your discussion, your presentation must be critically analyzed. This must be significantly different from the others, other students, right? Whereby they just theoretical based, they just write the points and all, whereby there is no personal input, there is no relation to your topics or theories or present or your the critical analysis part or the relevant literatures. So you need to bear in mind all these things. While when you relate your work to the theories, the contemporary researches, journals published by the others on the similar topic, this gives more credibility to your work. So some students, they thought, just we write from the textbook or from some other part, just copy paste, whereby the discussion is not in depth. Their work doesn't give much value, right? All right, this is just an idea how to do the word count. Not necessary to follow this exactly, but when you follow this, like your chapter 1 introduction within 700 words, the purpose of the project within 300 words, the description, the project discussion, 5,000 words, whereby you can include your literature review, research method, and data analysis part within 5,000 words, and you do your conclusion recommendation within another 1,000 words, that will give 7,000 plus words, right? So this is how you need to plan first, how you want to do, how you need to keep update your word count. Bear in mind, your references or bibliography or even appendixes are not included in word counting. So please take note. Your references, your bibliography, appendixes doesn't include in your word counting. So your word count will start from introduction until your conclusion, 5 chapters, right? So in the chapter 1, as I mentioned, you can briefly describe about the organization of the study, your information or the corporate information or company information, nature of the business. You can also mention about the number of the employees, organizational chart, performances of the organization, point of undertaking the research, etc., etc. You can also, in the purpose of the project, you must highlight why and how. What is the aim of this? This one you must highlight all these two, why and how. The aim of the project, the objective to be achieved, the significance of the study. This will give more interest to your readers, more interest to your management or the CEO of the company or the owner of the organization. They will know why. And you also need to state the method and tools proposed to use them. I mean, how you're going to achieve, how you're going to do your research, or how you're going to complete your work-based project. In the description part, you should provide the background of the problems, issues, the study and its consequences. You also need to determine the suitable theories, models, need relation to your problems or related to the topic you have identified or you have selected. Collection of data related to the problems or issues to support your study as observation or informal interviews, statistics, complaints, etc. Analyze the findings and propose strategies for the improvement, right? And the last part is the conclusion and the recommendations, whereby you will conclude the whole study, you will summarize and present your findings, followed by your recommendations, your contribution. The reference and bibliography, as I mentioned, you need to follow the Harvard referencing style. This is a summary that the font size can be Times New Roman or Arial. The size is 12. The spacing, it can be the 1.5 or double spacing. I recommend 1.5. 1.5 right margin and 1.5 paragraph spacing. Right justify paragraphs and proper headings and subheadings. No hard copy required for submission, because all the students are allowed or directed to submit in the student portal. So you can do in a PDF file and submit it. The assessment criteria, Okay, you also should have an idea that how your work will be assessed or marked. Bear in mind that there will be two markers for your work-based project. The first marker would be your supervisor. Your supervisor will do the first marking, and the second marking would be the marker would be myself. I will do the second marking, right? Now, these are the area that we'll be looking while you're marking your work-based project. The understanding and the knowledge of the subject. So after going through, we see the way you present, what is the understanding of your topic? Is it theoretical, or there's some relation to the real life scenarios whereby how you have taken the data collected or interview or survey, and did you explain it properly, right? Communication and the planning of the report, the presentation, the communication part, the integration of the theory and application of your knowledge and that you have acquired from the 6 modules, and whereby is there any critical analysis of thinking ability, and of course we look into the referencing part as well. And this is how the weight is the mark. In chapter 1 or interaction setting context, we 5%, your problem statement and identification 10%, your management of technique tools analysis is 30%, presentation of findings, this is the key area, 25%, and presentation of the solution or recommendations, another 20%, and overall is work on your referencing, that will be another 10%, which makes 100%. So this is all about your what you call the work-based project, the requirements, the guidance, the rules and regulations, the expectations. And I have also shown you the marks distribution, how you should put it there and what are the weightage, right? So I think I'm done with this. And now I open a Q&A session. We go one by one. If you have any clarifications, you need further clarification, we can do it now. So I start with Azima. So Azima, you can unmute your mic and you can share with us any issues, any problems so far, you understand? Azima, you need to unmute your mic and talk.
Yes, sir. So we have 6 months of time to complete the project, right, sir?
Yes, basically the time frame is indicated in your student portal. You refer to the LMS, you can see. For example, you started, this is what, December. What are the months given? It is mentioned in your student portal, more or less 6 months. 3 to 6 months, yeah.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Right, if you don't have any other question, we go to Nimsita, right?
Hi, good evening, Doctor. So far, so good, Doctor. I think
Right.
it's all clear. So if anything come across, we will conduct our local agent or rather business school.
Yes, I will share with my email address as well. You can write to me, no problem.
Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now we go to Prasanta.
Yes, it's Dulakshi. It's up to here clear, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Farhan.
Yes, I'm understood. Thank you very much.
All right, so no other questions, right? Watsala.
I understood also. Thank you very much.
Right. Now, I need your favor. I have shared a link in your chat box. 1 minute. This is the link for a survey. We want to hear from you, your feedback, so that we can improve further. It will take 1 or 2 minutes. Please complete this, then we end our session.
Can you share with us that presentation for us? Hello?
I don't get your question. Could you please repeat?
Yes. This presentation, can you share with us now? Just.
Okay, this presentation, there is a copy in your student portal. Huh? You can refer to that. Under student portal, you go to the
another question.
Resource. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
And that final, our project final, the result, it will be in new Kaizen, like new things should be outcome, like what can you explain about that?
All right.
The final result.
Yeah, any research, we are expecting something new which has not been discovered yet, right? So like other research, your work-based project also should identify a topic or a problem which has not been addressed yet, right? There must be some innovation, some differentiation. It can be, let's say, even for the what they say, the motivation at the workplace. There are many researchers on that. So your research need to focus, of course, covering the previous one to something to add which has not been discovered yet, all right? So there must be something new or innovative in your research. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, true.
All right. So those who are done with the survey, you can exit. Once you complete it, you let me know as well.
Great evening.
I'm also did the survey.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. I wish all the best for your work-based project.
Thank you.